let's go over the faster way to fat loss program. So, what I'm noticing about all of these programs is they're all like the same type thing. They're just touted by someone else who's trying to make money off of it. But so this, as you can see, they use primarily carb cycling and intermittent fasting. And they give you like a meal plan that you can follow. They say you don't really have to follow that meal plan, but they give you macros and all these things and then a workout routine with it. And they just have a lot of problems with how they're going about this, right? They're basically implying that they have this new way to get your body to burn fat when really all they're doing is decreasing your intake and increasing your exercise. One of the biggest things that bothers me is this little thing here. It says, teach your body to burn fat instead of carbs. That's not a thing. Your body's always going to burn fat. There's no such thing as your body not utilizing fat as a source of fuel. What I was taught and how I think it's the best analogy, and this is back in like biochemistry, is your carb utilization, we'll say is this hand, and your fat utilization are like two cars going down a road at the same time, occasionally pulling ahead of one or the other, right? So when you've just eaten, your body is primarily breaking down some carbohydrates. And then when it's kind of gone through that, fat pulls ahead and your body's breaking down fat. But there's no such thing as your body never using fat. And then of course, if you're way under eating, your body's going to start chipping away at muscle. But even still, it doesn't mean that it's not using fat. It just is also breaking down muscle. So that's just really negative. Now, what I also like to do with these programs is look through the FAQs. So one of the questions in the FAQs is, can I drink alcohol? And the answer is no, but you might be able to drink alcohol only on leg days. And then in parentheses, they put as a treat, which I hate that language, because when we start talking about like, oh, this is treat, this is good, this is bad, that's what brings in all of that guilt and shame around food and puts people on this cycle of binging and restricting because they're like, oh, I'm just going to cheat today. So that language is really, really negative. And then of course they go on and there's lots of questions about like, what is carb cycling? What is intermittent fasting? And I've shared lots of research on that. Intermittent fasting is not going to make you lose weight faster. All it does is decrease your intake. There's actually some research to show that intermittent fasting causes you to break down more muscle than you would have. One of the other FAQs that stood out to me was, what if I get dizzy? And they're like, oh, talk to your health coach. So again, don't fall for programs like this. They're just trying to pitch this as their great idea that's going to work, when really they're just decreasing your intake and increasing your exercise, arguably too much, to the point where you might be dizzy.